Hey guys, Lodicus here with a full walkthrough for One Step After Fall. This includes the base game and the first title update. The game originally came out on January 5th and just had a recent title update in the last week, pushing the gamer score to 2000, which can be earned in around 13 minutes. The game was both developed and published by the Bergson game studio. The game can be found in both the Windows and Xbox store for $4.99. And as of recording this, there is currently 3 achievement stacks, one for Windows, one for Xbox in English, and one for Xbox in Spanish. There is a German release coming soon, so there is potential to have 4 achievement stacks for this game, which is a little bit unheard of. And I have heard rumours that they will be going for the full 5,000 gamer score on each copy, giving you a grand total of 20,000 over their games. Now that we've got the introduction out the way, let's jump into the game. There is kind of 3 endings to this game. The very first one that we're going to go for is just getting ourselves killed. So as you spawn in, take a right and head towards this tower. You can hold left bumper to sprint, and then tapping right trigger will interact with things such as doors and ladders. You can also move quickly on the ladders by holding left bumper. This works for going up and down and will save you a little bit of time. Once we get to the top here, all we're going to do is turn around. My sensitivity was quite low, so it's quite a slow, sluggish movement to turn. And then all we're going to do is sprint with left bumper and then jump with A, jump out onto the ground, and obviously you'll get this Dark Souls kind of you died screen and giving us the achievement for dying. When we load back in, we'll be at the very start of the game again, and we're going to go for the true ending. First of all, there is a note attached to this sign. Just press right trigger to pick that up. The other notes within the game don't seem to spawn until you've picked them up in the correct order. As we move down the pathway towards the cabin, we'll scare these crows into the sky, which in turn will unlock another achievement. This was just recently added in one of the first title updates. If you do want the timestamps to all the achievements, I will put them in the description below. Once we get to the cabin, interact with the door with right trigger, and then press right trigger on this note twice to pick that up from the window. The key will now spawn up at this windmill. If you hadn't interacted with the door, it won't appear, so make sure you do that first. Just approach the windmill, head up the stairs, and on top of the barrel you will find a key. Just press right trigger on that twice to pick it up, and then the same again on this note on this door. Press right trigger twice to pick that one up. Then we're going to head back down to the cabin door. As we approach it, if you press left trigger, it'll open your inventory. And then all we need to then do is press right trigger to use the key, which we have in our inventory. So left trigger, then right trigger, and that should open the door. Once inside, take a right and press right trigger twice on this photo to interact with that. Then move over to the desk where you'll find a note, which we have to interact with twice with the right trigger. And then next to that is a little photo album. Just press right trigger to pick that up and then left trigger to put it back down. That'll give you the second title update achievement in the game. Then we'll move over to this filing cabinet. Just press right trigger twice on this note and then right trigger twice on this key to pick that up. Then if you look down to the very bottom drawer and press right trigger on that, inside there we want to interact with this file of pills. That'll give us another achievement, and then just press left trigger to put that back. Now look up to the top drawer and press left trigger to open your inventory, right trigger to use the key, and then right trigger on the gun to interact with that. We can't pick that one up, so just put that back down with left trigger, and then we're going to head back outside and towards the tower near the very start. I'm going to cut through this little wooded section here to save a little bit of time, but you could follow the path back down to the starting area and cut across. Once you get to the tower, just climb up the ladder on the outside to take you to the very top floor again. But this time we're not going to be jumping off, we're going to be interacting with a few items on the table.
Courage to do this. I must continue.
Now that we've climbed to the top of the tower, we want to interact with a red book on top of the box here first of all. So just press right trigger on that and then right trigger again. That'll be the third achievement for the new title update. And then we want to collect this chest key. Just press right trigger on that twice, and then there is a note just between the mug and the book there. double tap right trigger to pick that up, and then we're going to head back down the ladder, just shuffle to the very edge and then press right trigger to interact with it, and of course you can hold left bumper to come down a little quicker. Once you get to the bottom on this wooden section, we're just going to drop off the front of the building, and then we can go into the front entrance doorway here. Just press right trigger to open that door. Once inside, there is a note inside this diver's helmet. Just interact with that, press right trigger twice to pick that one up, and there is another title update achievement in here for interacting with this bottle of wine. So just press right trigger on that and then left trigger again to put it back down, and that should give you the 4th title update achievement. We're now free to head back outside, but first of all we're going to take a right and head towards this little wooded section up against this cliff face. As you get up here, you'll notice that there's something lit up in the distance. Just head towards that and you'll find a picnic table. Inside the basket on the picnic table, you will find a collectible. All you need to do is pick that up by double tapping right trigger to get that achievement. Now that that's out the way, we're going to head back towards the middle of the map where we'll find the pond. This is where we'll find the next note and book that we can interact with. So just head in this general direction just towards the cabin where we were previously. As you get near the pond, you will see a lamp in the middle of it that's lit up. This is where we're heading to, so just head up onto this ramp. Right at the very end, there is a little bench. Make sure you interact with both the note, pick that up, and then the book beside it. And this is going to kick off a Sea of Thieves cutscene and pop one of the achievements. Once that cutscene's finished, we're then going to head over to the well. It's just to the right hand side here of the barn. You'll see that it's lit up by a light, so it's fairly obvious to see from a distance. As you approach it, you'll see that there's a note pinned to the side. Just interact with that twice, and then just by your feet is a red book here on top of these boards. Pick that up for another achievement. We've now nearly finished the first playthrough. We've just got one area over here to interact with a couple of things, and then we'll be done. So head round the back of the barn and you should see a scarecrow there amongst the trees. Just approach that. You don't need to interact with him, just get close enough for the achievement to pop. Then turn around and head back to the barn. You can either go through the front barn entrance or there's a little side door here. Just head through either of those. At the front of the barn you'll find a red book on top of these hay bales. Just interact with that and that'll be our 5th and final title update 1 achievement. And those are now out the way. Head up this ladder within the barn, and at the very top you'll find a chest. You want to press left trigger and then right trigger to use the key, and then of course just tap right trigger again to open the chest, and this is the final note for this section of the game. Once this cutscene's played out, all you need to do is head towards that portal, which is just behind the well we were at previously, and then once we've walked through that we'll get the end scene credits and be able to move on to our second playthrough, which is a lot quicker. So yep, just head out the barn front door and head towards that portal, and like I said, once you've popped through it you will get the achievement for the true ending. At this point you'll only have one achievement left in the game, which is to get the bad ending, and we'll talk you through that once we start a new game.
This is the moment. The end of this nightmare is near. I'll open my eyes and love again. I took one step after fall.
Now that we've got that ending and skipped the credits, we're just going to start a new game and get our final achievement. So just throw yourself back into the game. This time we're not going to interact with any of the notes, it's not necessary. So first of all, we're just going to head towards this cabin. Once we get to the cabin, again interact with the door so it spawns the key at the windmill. interact with the door with right trigger, turn around and then head back up to the windmill.
I did not want to go to the mill. There are so many memories.
Head up the wooden stairs and pick up the key. So we now have the cabin key. And as you guessed it, we're going to head back down to the cabin, interact with the door with left trigger and then right trigger to use the key. Once we head inside, we're going to head straight for the filing cabinet or chest of drawers in the corner. And then we want to get the key from the top here. So double tap right trigger, open the top drawer with left trigger, right trigger. And then we want to interact with the gun and then place it back. We now need to get the ammo for the gun, which is found in the chest. But first of all, we're going to need the chest key, which of course is in the top of the tower. So we're going to tootle over to the tower, climb up the ladder again, and then interact with the key on the table.
I don't know. I have courage to do this. I must continue.
Once you've made your way up to the very top of the tower, just interact with this key on the desk, which of course is the chest key. Within the chest, we should now find a magazine clip for the pistol. And yes, if you can't remember, the chest is in the barn. So now we're just going to make a quick beeline to the barn. So turn around 180, and then you can just see the barn above the trees. Head in that direction, and then we're going to head up the ladder within the barn, open the chest and interact with the magazine. Now that we're in the barn again, just use the ladder to get into the loft space. And because we have the key from the tower, just left trigger, right trigger to open the chest. And what was the note previously is now a gun magazine. Collect that, and as you guessed it, we're going to head back to the cabin and interact with that gun. Interacting with the gun is going to trigger a cut sequence where sadly your main character does take his own life, which is why it's called the dark ending. As somebody that has gone through depression themselves, I can see why some people may want to take their own lives. As depression is a mental illness, it's hard to identify if anybody's suffering with it. So please, please be kind to other people. You don't truly know what people are going through within their own lives. If you do feel as if you're slipping into a depressive state, please speak to someone, even if it's just your local doctor or GP. It really does help. On a slightly happier note, you do have the full 2000 gamer score on One Step After Fall. The devs are expected to push out more title updates. When they do, I will be giving you achievement guides to them. For the now, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.